I am the Irish guy, and Jurgen Klopp is a freak. No, calm down, okay? I'm not accusing him of lurking behind the bins outside Pizza Hut, just eating dead skin off his feet whilst meowing at cats. No, okay, I don't think he sneaks into nursing homes in the hopes that he might be able to drink out of his auntie's bedroom potty. No, I'm not saying he's Germany's answer to Norman Bates. No, when I say freak, I don't mean circus freak. I mean freak of nature. You know, a managerial odyssey. This man is beyond the realms of belief. I will touch on Klopp again later in the video, but Liverpool are going to win the Premier League. Again. I mean, let's not forget, this time last year, this was a broken, crippled football team who went to lose 4 games in a row, including the Merseyside derby. At home. I mean, they come and watch Man City rock up to Anfield and score 4. They had lost at home to Burnley, Brighton, Everton, Chelsea and Fulham without even scoring a goal. Yes, Fulham FC, coached by Scott Parker. You know, this generation's answer to Tim Sherwood. Yeah, sure, he probably brushes his teeth 6 times a day and gets his mum to comb his hair, but honestly, he's mostly got the tactical knowledge of a bowl of shreddies. I mean, last season, proud records turned into dust because every team who won in Anfield last season, respectively, it was their first win at the ground since 1974, 1983, 2003, 1998, 2018, and 2012. Oh yeah, and Atalanta's first ever win at the ground ever. Oh yeah, and it was the first time you conceded 7 in one match since 1963. Last season, Liverpool were on their knees. I mean, Christ, look at their back 4 last spring. I'm guessing Andy Robertson was on the verge of shoving a teaspoon up his nose because he had a more impressive back 4 when he used to play for Hull. I mean, look at this defense. There's so many Williams present. I mean, you'd swear it was a women's tennis final. Honestly, look at the majority of where that defense are now. Fulham, Bournemouth, and Swansea City. So these players lining out in the shirts of the reigning Premier League champions, it's about like giving a channel of 500,000 subscribers to someone who looks like he smells of a cat's nut. Hey, just kidding, okay? Please don't send me a lawsuit in the post. Last season, that should have been the end of an era. Good Christ, a generational talent like Trent Alexander-Arnold. Oh, suddenly he looked about as defensively sound as a tin of cat piss. Honestly, he was just Alan Hutton with dreads. But last season, that alright should have been the end of this project. I mean, we've already seen an example of Jurgen Klopp burnout before. And the Klopp burnout, it's not typical of a slow decline like Arsene Wenger. No, that was a bit like a failing marriage, which slowly grew stale over many years. And by the end of it, the kids were wanting to stab you in the face with a fork. No, in Klopp's case, his burnout is the equivalent of burning down the house. Cause he had Borussia Dortmund bottom of the Bundesliga in February. And don't forget, he was armed with Ilkay Gundogan, Henrik Mkhitaryan, Ciro Immobile, Marco Reus, and Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. I mean, those 5 footballers alone have a combined 1,101 career goals and 494 assists. I mean, come on! A relegation battle with that? That was a clear demonstration that Klopp had no motivation or hunger left in the tank, right? Honestly, it was like the Westfalen Stadion had been invaded by those gremlins of Space Jam, right? And that was a carbon copy of what happened last season at Anfield. I thought, oh, those 6 intense hectic years had clearly left Klopp as a stressed out human bumblebee of a coach who just needed a break. I mean, great, you pipped this great Man City team to the prize once. That was your legacy, fine. You've done all you can, just go drift off into international management. Maybe pick up the less stressful Germany job and start preparing for the Qatar World Cup. Well, instead, he just rammed my doubts back down my throat to the point where it almost feels like I've got wet scrambled egg clogging up my lungs. This Liverpool side are the best team in world football. And don't you tell me they're not. This Man City team on their day is irresistibly good, but the one thing they lack is consistency. Christ above, you're going to end the season and they failed to score a single goal against Crystal Palace, being outsmarted by a team with Jeffrey Schlupp in midfield. You also recently sloppily lost at home to a team who'd immediately go and lose to Burnley and Middlesbrough. You got run ragged by Ryan Sessegnon. I'm sorry, I didn't realise it was early 2017. Liverpool, they just won 9 league games in a row, conceding just twice. I mean, forget the crunch game at the Etihad. That doesn't matter because City are slipping up again. Christ above, they nearly dropped points at Everton. I mean, Pep Guardiola is once again going to continue to trust a £100 million Barbie doll in Jack Grealish. He's once again going to sit on his hands and stubbornly refuse to make a substitute. You know, like a bored teenage lifeguard who sees a 4-year-old drowning in the paddling pool, but instead just chooses to turn up Katy Perry on his headphones. I mean, you might think I'm talking through a hole in my nose right now, but trust me, away trips to Burnley, Wolves and West Ham, these are all massive banana skins, especially for a team who don't even have a centre forward. But this Liverpool juggernaut, they are going to win every single match. I just know it. Nobody is stopping this train. And that is why Klopp is a massive freak. How is he doing this? It's almost witchcraft. I mean, with a coach like Pep Guardiola, sure, he's a tactical genius. Clearly the man's football brain is too big for his skull. There's a man who's clearly brainwashed by the Barcelona philosophy according to Johan Cruyff. He is a guy who spent 24 years of his life at the new camp. It makes sense that he thinks the way he does. But let's be honest, despite his brilliance, it's a coach who's had a silver spoon in his mouth from his first ever training session. I mean, in his first job in football, he was given a forward line of Samuel Eto'o, Leo Messi and Thierry Henry. I'm sorry, what? Klopp's first management gig was coaching the Eintracht Frankfurt under-13s, you know, just shouting at a left-back who's yet to kiss a girl. I mean, Pep was making decisions on the futures of a luxury superstar like Ronaldinho. Klopp was trying to introduce heavy metal tactics to a dressing room, probably had to do their maths homework in the car on the way to training. If Guardiola wasn't given that Barcelona gig in 2008, then as an unknown novice coach, I mean, I don't know, in the summer of 2008, there was a vacant gig at Blackburn Rovers. Imagine if he had wound up at Ewood Park instead of Paul Ince. Yes, he's a brilliant coach, but I can tell you for a fact that if instead of being given Lionel Messi, he was instead trying to get goals out of Jason Roberts and Matt Derbyshire, I can tell you for a fact he would not be where he is now. I mean, Guardiola joined Barcelona's La Masia Academy age 13, spending his teens trying to impress Johan Cruyff. Klopp was a scruffy amateur footballer who used to work at the local video rental store. I mean, while Guardiola was learning under the best minds in the game, Klopp was busy stressing out over whether that fat mum customer had rewound a Terminator tape back to the beginning. Honestly, that was his life. Sitting behind a sweaty desk with his hand stuffed in a tub of popcorn, renting out Ferris Bueller's Day Off and The Breakfast Club to lonely pensioners on Friday nights. I mean, you can imagine Guardiola had it easy at school, right? Sitting in the back of geography class with his feet up, he was untouchable. I mean, he had a day pass to Barcelona Football Club after school. He was probably the most popular kid in class. But Klopp looked like a lanky German Stephen Merchant, and whose middle name was Norbert. What, sharing the same name as the dragon of Harry Potter? Oh, very cool. That's how you get your classmates to throw their lunch at your face. He obtained a diploma in sports science, writing his thesis about walking. Yes, walking. Doesn't that make him sound like he was about as charismatic as a wet bowl of melon? And yet, he has just created the best team on planet Earth. He is a miracle worker. He took over Mainz in 2001 whilst they were rotting in the German second tier. And he wound up taking them into the UEFA Cup for the 05-06 season, where they were then knocked out by Sevilla, who went on to win the whole thing. Had they managed to win that playoff match, then Mainz and Jurgen Klopp would have wound up in the same group as Bolton and Zenit St. Petersburg. You know, the thug dad group of death. In 2008, Klopp took over a Dortmund team who just finished 13th in the Bundesliga. Within 5 years, they were in a Champions League final with 2 Bundesliga titles in the bag. Oh yeah, and the DFB Pokal Cup and 2 Super Cups. And do you know what his net spend was at that point in 2013 when they were in the Wembley final? Minus £3 million. Yes, minus. What? Bayern Munich were shopping around for the obvious superstars, but Klopp, his best signings were from Lech Poznan, Shakhtar Donetsk, Borussia Mönchengladbach, FC Nuremberg, San Etienne, and Colo Colo from Chile. Nobody was looking at these clubs for players. Kind of Robert Lewandowski was an ash cloud away from winding up at Blackburn Rovers and playing for Big Sam. Sounds about as much fun as licking milk off a pig's arse. And the only other team sniffing out Aubameyang at the time was Newcastle, with Alan Pardew wanting him to replace Demba Ba. Oh, what a fun job description. Instead, they went and got Johan Gouffran instead. I mean, he moves to Liverpool in 2015. Please raise your hand. Who actually believed him when he said he would win Liverpool the Premier League? I mean, this was just weeks after they lost 3-0 at home to West Ham. It was just a summer after conceding 6 at Stoke. Did somebody not tell him? Liverpool, they don't win the Premier League. And especially not a Liverpool team with Kolo Touré at the back and a forward line of Christian Benteke and Danny Ings. But again, he left the obvious signings to the likes of Man City, Chelsea and Man United. Instead, his best players came from Southampton, Newcastle, Roma, Monaco, Hull City and Wolverhampton Wanderers. I mean, Christ, not once was he tempted by a big, sexy name to sell shirts. I mean, Christ, Alexis Sanchez was available on a free and Jurgen Klopp did not blink once. Same situation was Zlatan Ibrahimovic when he quit PSG, and he seemed to be the only manager of a top English club who didn't want to sign Alvaro Morata 5 years ago. This man does not fall for expensive flops. Lads, he's been in management for 20 years and he has never bought a plus £30 million flop. Not A single one. Nobody he has ever paid more than £30 million for has ever been a failure. I mean, Guardiola's got £50 million flops falling out of his pockets and a £100 million one staring at him in the face. Even Jose Mourinho has massively expensive transfer stains on his CV, like Paul Pogba, Andriy Shevchenko, Henrik Mkhitaryan, Fred, Giovanni Lo Celso, Sean Wright-Phillips. Again, Antonio Conte spent a combined £70 million on Bakayoko and Danny Drinkwater. But Klopp, no £30 million mistakes. Again, he is a freak. The only true transfer disaster he bought at Liverpool was Loris Karius. And again, that was just a £5 million paycheck. I mean, Stoke once quoted 6 times that for Jack Butland. So, you get what you pay for. I mean, you might call it Xherdan Shaqiri a failure, but he still scored 2 goals against Man United to get Jose the sack. For Liverpool fans, I think that match alone was worth the £30 million they paid to Stoke. The biggest compliment that I can pay to Klopp is apparently Liverpool also wanted Carlo Ancelotti when Brendan Rodgers was sacked. Listen, genius football manager, one of the goats of the game, and yet even he, I mean, just look at the substandard work he did at Everton. Lump him with a custard pie, mid-table squads, and he wouldn't have the patience that Jurgen Klopp had. He would have done nothing. I mean, this man used to picking the best in class like Kaká, Frank Lampard, Cristiano Ronaldo. What was he ever going to do with Danny Ings? I'm convinced once they sold Coutinho, he'd have probably quit in disgust. Honestly, by mid-2018, he'd practically have been begging for the sack after finishing 9th in the league with James Milner in midfield, right? But Klopp, 2 Champions League finals, winning 1, a League Cup, a UEFA Super Cup, and a FIFA Club World Cup, and best of all, a Premier League title. But even that 1 Premier League title, that undersells it. Because I'm sorry, Liverpool picked up 97 points in the 18-19 season. That deserves another title win. Christ above, that is 7 points more than the goddamn Invincibles. That is 2 more points than Chelsea's winning machine under Mourinho in 2005. It's 18 points more than Manchester United's treble winners of 1999. And yet, because they finished second, that monster season, with just 1 league defeat and world-class standards, that's just going to be thrown in the wind and forgotten about, just like Sabrina the Teenage Witch. And now, Liverpool might not win the league this season, but whatever happens, it'll be the 3rd season where Klopp has managed to break 90 points in the Premier League. Tell someone that back in 2015, just months after Steven Gerrard had left the club with embarrassment on his face, watching his teammates continue to fail and let him down. Christ above, they couldn't even manage the pressure of his Anfield farewell party without losing at home to Crystal Palace. To take a ramshackle joke of a football team who the previous year had just suffered the biggest pain in the history of the club, a team who just finished 2 places above Swansea City, to then go and achieve what he has, it's amazing. And I repeat, Jurgen Klopp is a freak. That level of performance, to do all that with a left back from Hull City and a spine picked out of Southampton, it doesn't make sense. But I'm gonna say it, Jurgen Klopp is one of the greatest managers to ever live. He is a genius. Anyway, that's what we're doing. What do you think? Let me know in the comment section below. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to subscribe. As always, talk to you in a while.